and welcome back to Tea and Twits, just two girls talking about the stuff we care about. Laura, it is Women's Month.
It is Women's Month. Every month is Women's Month, but this is officially Women's Month.
So this month we're going to talk about some famous women of history. Both, I think, what did we say? Both with the votes and just whatever else we can think about.
Yeah, essentially. It's just going to be like, I have a few bullet points, and then it's going to be maybe we'll figure it out type situation, because that's how it normally works.
Exactly. And then we're also going to talk about self-care, because that is something that everyone needs, no matter who you are. Self-care is very important.
I'm sorry, I'm laughing because your fucking thing on the Google thing is anonymous crow, and it's great.
Oh my gosh, that's awesome. All right, so Women's Month. Do you want to start us off?
Yeah. So essentially, we're going to start off of what is Women's History Month. And this is like straight from the internet, so I'm kind of reading it verbatim. It's kind of an opportunity to celebrate and reflect on women's achievements, as well as the problems they have faced in the struggle to be free and the important role they continue to play in society. Because we bamps, bitch. I improvised that last part. You know. And every year they kind of have a theme. So the theme for 2020 is the wine's kicking in. Valiant women of the vote. And which they say to the theme honors in quotations, the brave women who fought to win suffrage rights for women and for the women who continue to fight for the voting rights of others.
All right. And the suffrage movement, which was, the suffrage movement was a broad one encompassing women and men with a wide range of views. In terms of diversity, it's the greatest achievement of the 20th century women's suffrage movement was its extremely broad class base. So essentially, the suffragette movement was the women's right to vote. Tell me if I'm wrong.
No, that's correct. That's correct. I don't have the capacity to do more research further than this. If we say something that's wrong, hey, let us know. We're not perfect. / I ain't got time for that right now.
It's been a long couple of weeks.
It's been a bit.
So, but I also, in addition to, the women of the suffragette movement, I have a list of 70 famous women of history.
Shit, you went further than I did.
Well, I looked up a list.
Perfect.
That was the extent of my looking up things. This is how we do things.
We find a list and we go off that. Perfect.
All right, so tell me when to stop and I will give facts.
Okay.
All right. All right. Oprah Winfrey, born in 1954, American talk show host and businesswoman. Oprah was the first woman to own her own talk show. Her show and book club are very influential, focusing on issues facing American women. I feel like that one was a gimme.
That's like a kind of gimme for Oprah, just because she's so well known, I guess is the best way to put it. Especially in terms of being a woman of color doing so many amazing things. That's all I got to say.
The one thing I love about this list is it actually includes Greta Thunberg.
Oh, fuck yeah.
She's on there and Malala's on there.
If they weren't, I would be upset.
Exactly. All right, so let's see. Stop right here. Queen Elizabeth I of Castile,
okay.
Born 1451 to 1504. Isabella was an effective and influential monarch who, with her husband Ferdinand, united Spain and made it a leading power in Europe.
Yes, bitch.
She financed the journey of Christopher Columbus and also set up the Spanish Inquisition.
Nobody expects the Spanish Inquisition.
Oh my gosh.
I was really hoping you were going to mention it just so I could do it.
That is the best card in Cards Against Humanity.
Fucking
Is no one is
nerds.
supposed to Spanish Inquisition. Oh my gosh. All right, let's do one more. Tell me when to stop.
Go ahead.
Oh, this one's a good one. Rosa Parks, born 1913 and died in 2005, American civil rights activist. Rosa Parks' refusal to give up her bus seat in Montgomery, Alabama, indirectly led to some of the most significant civil rights legislation in American history. She sought to play down her role in the civil rights struggle, but for her peaceful and dignified campaigning, she became one of the most well-respected figures in the civil rights movements. That's
a very good one. And with that one, I remembered off the top of my head, Ruby Bridges.
All right, who is that?
She was the first African-American child to be let into an all-white school. Like every year in like elementary and middle school and like occasionally in high school, we would watch like I don't want to say movie, but it's essentially a movie based off of that whole experience. And like in February, because it's such a, just to think that wasn't that long ago. But everyone makes it seem like it was forever ago. But it was the 60s. Like, she's only, like, 65, I think. Maybe a little older. Let me Google. Ruby Bridges. She is 65. Wow, I got that right. I'm so fucking proud of myself.
Nice.
Yeah, bitch. But it was an all-white elementary school in New Orleans that she was let into because she was a smart bitch.
She was on it. But I feel like we can't really talk about Women's History Month without also recognizing the LGBT community.
Oh god, there's too many of them.
There's so many, and I was looking up like a list. I have 11 iconic LGBT women, and one of them, just because I watched The Danish Girl recently, Lily Elbe. Her whole story is just insane.
Give me the rundown.
Okay, so Lily started off as a man who was a very famous painter, and he always felt like he was just not in the right body, but didn't really know how to like justify it. So he was married. He was married to another famous painter, or an up and coming painter, I guess. But as he grew older, he started, experimenting with cross-dressing.
I don't mean to like stop you, but still use she pronouns.
She. Yes, sorry. She experimented with cross-dressing and was finally able to find a doctor that would actually perform the sex reassignment surgery. But unfortunately, after her 5th operation, which was a uterus implant, she passed away. But her whole, I recommend, if you haven't seen it, go watch The Danish Girl. Is such a good movie.
Okay.
But yeah, I love her story.
Cool. Okay. Next one.
Oddly enough, on this list is Eleanor Roosevelt.
Huh.
Rumors of her bisexuality.
Got it. Okay. I was like, is it what I think it is?
Yes. From a long, passionate relationship with young reporter Lorena Hickok.
Oh yeah, they were definitely just friends.
Yes, definitely
also,
just
that's
friends.
probably speculation, but like, we love a bi icon.
Yes, indeed. And then also on here is Emily Dickinson, which I didn't know until recently.
Yeah. All I can think about is the John Mulaney special where he's talking about college participation, how you can get an A just by participating, and someone's like in an English class, he's like, I think Emily Dickinson is a lesbian. Good, partial credit. Like, it's a whole fucking bit. It's great. But yeah, Emily Dickinson is a fucking amazing writer.
Yes, she is. And she gay as all hell.
Yeah. And obviously I know we're forgetting a bunch, but that's because it was kind of like a thing where I'm like, we need to mention it, especially with the like kind of, I don't want to say society, but the society that we live in today. It's important to remember the people who have helped us get to where we are, to where we can still continue to fight for equality of everyone.
Exactly. And we're still fighting that fight, even though it's not, I mean, there's still parts of, women's rights that are even being disputed now, especially with like
the abortion laws
the
and all that.
anti-abortion
Yep.
laws. Yeah. So we're still fighting the good fight, and we're still fighting for all of our rights, no matter, LGBT or not. So we did just want to mention Women's History Month because it is such a big thing. And I don't know if are they doing marches this year?
I don't know. I haven't seen it if they are. I know, especially with the whole presidential campaign and all of that, it's like I've normally seen like a whole bunch of stuff for Women's History Month, and I've seen nothing. Between the virus and the presidential campaign and all of that, it's just up in the wind.
It's been a busy few months for 2020.
I don't even want to get into that. It's so much. I also just came to the realization, because this will partially go into our next topic, which is self-care, but not the alcohol part. I just realized I just had half a bottle of wine in about an hour and a half. My best friend's picking me up, and we're going to Sally's to get bleach and stuff for her hair, and I'm bleaching her hair.
Oh, dear.
I mean, my brother will be here to supervise too, but like, I just realized.
Oh dear.
It's been a bit.
Oh,
okay,
dear.
so going. Whoa, words, they exist.
Switching gears.
Kind of switching gears, but closing out our little Women's History Month year. Obviously, there's so much more to talk about with Women's History Month, but it's also to the fact of it would all be stuff that you can Google yourself. And it's like, do we want to Google that right now? No, but it's also the point of it needs to be brought up. It needs to be talked about, especially because this is a podcast led by two women who deal with a bunch of shit all the time. So
exactly,
it's to the fact where we wanted to mention it. We wanted to bring some light to it. Go out, do your research, all of that jazz, please, for the love of everything. I know there's probably some podcasts that are going to talk about it, which I have no clue right now because it's only the 5th of the month. And everyone puts podcasts out in like the 3rd week of the month normally, or weekly, because some people have that kind
we
of...
like being
some
early.
people have that kind of time.
Yeah, we like being early. But yes, please do your research.
And I guess switching gears to our...
Switching gears.
Oh god, we're both just so dumb. Okay, switching gears to our second topic, which is self-care. Okay, yeah, I said that right. I was like, yes. Wait, did I say it right? Yes. So it's something that's been talked about a lot more recently, and like it's been like jokes like, oh, I'm gonna have a self-care night, this, that, the other. Like I saw like an ad on a bus for Postmates, and it's like, well, my therapist said to give myself some self-care, so I'm just gonna order food. Like, so it was something dumb like that. But it's
right.
It's to the fact of we are, like, our generation is kind of becoming more aware of mental health in a whole sense, but also how important self-care is. And self-care is essentially the practice of taking an active role in protecting your own well-being and happiness, and especially during like very bad periods of stress.
Mm-hmm. There's actually 5 different types of self-care.
You did more research than me.
There's physical self-care, emotional self-care, psychological self-care, spiritual self-care, and professional self-care.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So, like, physical self-care can be just like having a night to yourself where you just sit down, you watch a movie, you spoil yourself with like a bubble bath or bath bombs, just something that takes care of you so that you can recharge. It can be as simple as like going on a walk or getting your hair done. I know that I've had days where like my version of self-care was just going out and walking the mall because that makes me happy to go and window shop. Just something that will make you happy without necessarily breaking the budget.
Yeah,
For
I know,
physical
like, for
self-care.
me, the one thing I do daily is I read, whether it's an actual book, whether it's fan fiction, it doesn't really matter. It's like, I'll do that when I'm, like, on the bus going to work, and I'll do it, like, winding down when I'm at home, just to kind of shut
Mm-hmm.
my mind off to everything else and just relax.
Mm-hmm. Emotional self-care is just letting yourself feel like your emotions are okay. It is okay to cry. It's okay to laugh. It is okay to feel things, feel angry, feel upset. A lot of people so often now, like, we're told, not to show our emotions,
I was
especially
going to say the
men.
whole be a man thing, yeah.
Men, it is okay to cry. It is okay, I promise you. But that's just emotional self-care, is just letting yourself feel, because if you bottle it up long enough, it's not going to be good, and it's actually going to hurt your body even more. Psychological self-care, let's see what this says. Small but very effective way you might be able to reduce stress. So basically allowing yourself to say no to things, because we live in such a yes society that being able to say no to stuff is actually a lot better for you in the long run, for your mental state, for your physical state. It's just so important. And they talk about in here, like, some other activities are like engaging your intelligence in other topics, be curious for a day, practice receiving compliments, make time for self-reflection, but also pay attention to your inner experience, your thoughts, your feelings, your attitudes. So basically making sure that your inner voices are as calm as your outer exterior wants to be is so important.
Which I think that's probably the part of self-care a lot of people struggle with, especially in today's world, with not only just social media and everyone's plugged in all the time, but definitely with work and how you need to do so much in order just to, one, either keep a job or to get hired for a job or anything like that. So I feel like that's probably the one that everyone struggles with the most.
Definitely. Spiritual self-care, obviously, reconnecting yourself to whatever higher being that you believe in. I mean, for me, I'm a Christian, so I believe in God, and
I am a pagan, so I believe in kind of, I guess, what some would say the old gods. I'm more aligned to the Norse paganism, like Loki, Thor, Frigga, all that. But I also have some influences of Celtic things. And I'm just going to say things because they're assholes. He knows he is.
Oh, goodness. But yeah, just being able to reconnect to whatever higher being you believe in. And, whether that's meditation, prayer, spending time outside in nature, or even if it's reading something that, involves your spirituality, just doing something that'll help reconnect where there was disconnect. And then the last part of self-care is professional self-care, which is so very important, even though it's probably the most expensive self-care.
Yeah.
But it's so important being able to go out and see a therapist, or go and see a counselor is so important, just to get that third party perspective on stuff that you're going through can really change how you view your situation. But also having someone just there to listen is so incredibly important, because they don't have any say in your life, but they also can offer advice if needed. And I loved going to my therapist. Right now I don't have the funds to go do it, but I loved going to my therapist. And that's, the five versions of
The
self-care.
5 versions, the 5 elements. And I do have
Yes.
on here, like, what isn't self-care? One, it's not selfish. People who, I don't want to, like, throw under the bus the older generation, but a lot of the older generation say, like, oh, why would you do that, this, that, or the other, like, it's so selfish, like, because you just want to spend time for yourself and do that for you, and, like, not always see people. But it's not selfish. It's something everyone needs to do to be able to continue with their daily lives. And the other thing is, it's not something that you can force yourself to do, or it's not something that you don't enjoy doing. Because if you don't enjoy doing it and you're forcing yourself to do it, there's no fucking point. It's just going to stress you out
Exactly.
more.
Like, if you don't like reading, don't force yourself to read. Do something that you love to do. Like, for me, when I get really stressed out, I paint. It's one of my most calming activities, just to randomly paint stuff. And I've got portraits all over my room of stuff that I've painted when I get stressed out. So do something you love to do. What's something that you like to do when you're
Reading
stressed
is
out?
one of them, but another thing is, especially now that I kind of know how to make Mickey ears and I have like a bunch of the supplies for it, I'll make just Mickey ears. Like, even if they're just random and I have no use for them, I'll make the bases, or I'll just cover stuff, or I'll cut stuff and do cloth. I think the other thing that, like, we kind of do as a family when all of us are super stressed is we'll go to Disney, which sounds really fucking weird. But as a family, it's very important, because if all of us are super fucking stressed in this house, we're all just going to be stressed, like stressed and snapping at each other. And that's not great, especially with 3 hotheads. And I say that in the most loving way possible, and about myself. But we'll come home like on a Wednesday and it'll be like, fuck it, we need a Disney trip. And my brother and I will be like, okay, do we want to go this weekend or next weekend? Can we afford to get like our cheap room? Okay, yes, we can. There's this, there's that. Okay, cool. We have no plans this weekend. Great, we're going to Disney in a day and a half. Like, it happens. Like,
And that's the great thing, is when you're able to do
especially
stuff like
when
that.
we weren't always able to, so we're very fortunate now to be able to do that. Like, yeah, there's some weeks or some months where it's like, shit, we can't do anything, but we're still doing Disney stuff. It's just because we've budgeted for our passes. So it's like, I've seen people like, oh, you go to Disney too much, this, that, and the other. It's like, no, I'm an annual pass holder, and it's like budgeted into our accounts. Like, that's part of our like monthly bills, and every year we have the conversation, okay, do we want to continue this? Can we still afford it? All of that. So it's to that effect. But it's just, we've been doing it since my senior year of high school, I think, at this point. Yeah, so it's like 6 years. 5 years. And since that's happened, it's kind of reduced a lot, especially with like the fact of, oh, like, it's been a horrible week, or it's like right now it's fair season, so it's like we can't go to fair for 2 months because it's fair season. But it's like, okay, when are we going to go after fair season? It's this, it's that. It's like, we know we're going once in March, once in April, once in June, maybe in May. It's like we have like set times where it's like, okay, we're going to go. And it's like, it's something to look forward to type situation.
And that's another thing is like try and plan at least like one day a month just to have a you day. Take care of yourself. Just like one day where you can do whatever you want without worry of what everyone else is going to think. Just do stuff that you like to do on that day. And I'm not meaning like that's the only day that you can do stuff you want to do, but it helps get into that routine of, okay, this is my day to do what I need to do. Sorry, I'm watching you flit around the thing. But it's your day to do whatever you want to do, and there's the great quote from, I believe it's Parks and Rec. Treat yourself.
I actually, because I was scrolling on Tumblr before we started this, and my brother actually just reblogged something, and it has to do with it. It's like, accidentally indulged too much me time. Turns out I've been reported missing for over 6 months and presumed dead by most local and national authorities. Which is the most hilarious thing to me, because I'm like, me time is very much self-care appropriate, and it would probably be all older people that's like, oh my god, they're dead, guys. They're gone forever. But it's also the fact of you need that time, and sometimes, yeah, you can plan it out, and sometimes that plan doesn't work. Or you have a really shitty day, and you need to change it and be like, okay, I'm doing this tonight. Like, we have examples of that all the time. So it's like, I was like, okay, there's a chance we're going to eat out sometime this week, if something. Like, we planned that 2 weeks ago because we planned our meals. And I'm like, it's fine, I'll pay for dinner, whatever. My brother got home yesterday, and it's like, I don't want to cook. So what do we want to do? Do we want to go get fast food? Do we want to do this? I'm like, well, let's go to Metro, which is like a diner right near us. It's like, okay, let's go over there. So we went over there. We had like a nice quiet family dinner where we talk. We're not on our phones all the time. And then we went and got frozen yogurt because I wanted frozen yogurt because it's me. But it's like, it's the little things. And I think that's like my favorite thing. Zombieland's like one of my favorite movies, but that's one of my favorite rules in like the Zombieland movies is enjoy the little things. Like, part of the like sub storyline of that movie is Tallahassee's just trying to find a fucking Twinkie, and once he does, it's like, enjoy the little things, especially in a very shitty time like a zombie apocalypse. So it's kind of the fact of sometimes self-care will happen accidentally, and sometimes that's the best thing, is when it's all by accident and not planned, but you also still kind of need those planned days, I guess.
And self-care can even be like celebrating the little things of, you know, you said no to someone. You were able to say no to someone without feeling guilty. You got out of bed. That's a big
self-care thing for people who don't do that a lot.
Exactly. You got out of the house. That's celebrating your self-care accomplishments is so important, because if we don't celebrate the little things, we're just going to be more and more.
So what's something you do for self-care?
What I do, I actually
I kind of figured.
It's very calming for me, and I can do whatever I want. And I started my own little world where I'm in survival, just because I actually found like a decent cave and everything, but that's besides the point. But I'll go in there and I'll just play for a couple hours, and it's very nice and methodical for me, just like painting is. And I'm able to create what I want to without anyone else judging me. And even if there is, like, if I'm in the realm and there's someone that pops in, it's nice to be able to talk with someone and play, but I don't necessarily have to have someone in there.
That's fun. I kind of just wanted to continue going on about stuff we wanted to do, like what we like kind of actively do for ourselves. So it's like, I know for me, like this year, I've kind of decided it's the year of self-care for me, strictly because I've kind of, since you've known me, I've probably had multiple different hair colors. You've been on the phone with me as I dyed my hair at one point, which was hilarious. But
that was awesome.
I've kind of realized and come to the point now where it's like I use my hair as so many stressors in my life. Like something was going wrong and I did my hair.
Mm-hmm.
Like the whole mental breakdown thing. Yeah, no, that was me. So it's like all my hair is fried, this, that, and the other. Like I'm probably getting off here and booking a hair appointment, and you will be sent pictures in hopefully like a week and a half of me with the pixie cut. Dingle!
You look so
but
pretty!
it's also to the point of I've decided, like, okay, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. Like, I've been to the doctor, so I've been to the dentist. I'm getting my health organized and all of that. But now also, like,
mm-hmm.
along with that, I've kind of realized some stuff I've repressed, I guess is the best way to put it. And I'm going to probably talk more about it in when we do like our mental health podcast this year with the eating disorder and everything else, because that has, I don't want to say resurfaced because it's always there, but it's become more apparent that it's there type situation. So that's probably going to be talked about later on in the year, but it's the fact of self-care is so important for everyone. And that's something I always want to stress. Because, like, my boss, she does the same thing. She's like, oh, I want to do this, but... And I'm like, no, go do it. Just go do it now. It's like, here, go for a walk today. It's like today she was like, oh, are you going to be okay if I, like, go on a walk with my friend in, like, an hour? I'm like, go now. What's stopping you? You just have to get changed. Like, go now. I'll be fine. It's fine. Like, she decided to take a couple extra days, and she's going to fly and go see her son. I'm like, okay, great. Go have your... mother, daughter, and son time, because her daughter decided to join her. So it's like, go do that. Go have fun. I got this. And especially when I can kind of help other people in that same sense. So it's like, my best friend, 2 days ago, it was like a Snapchat of, hey, someone needs to stop me from cutting my own bangs right now. And I'm like, no, just stop. What do we need to do? And now tonight we're bleaching her hair. It was an informed decision. I know what I'm doing, kind of. It'll be fine. But it's just kind of, I kind of realized, like, we need to talk about it because it's something that's not super talked about. And exactly. That's the word I was looking for. I wish my brain couldn't fucking function with. My brain is on wine right now. Wine. It's fine. I feel a lot better now that I had wine. Which, hey, that's not great either. But I don't think self-care is drinking half a bottle of wine in one go.
I mean, self-care it can be whatever you want it to be. Because my version of self-care is after this, I'm going to get a pint of ice cream. That's great,
first of all. Self-care is going to be me booking a hair appointment and freaking the fuck out while I do it because I have to talk to someone on the phone. Oh, God, I have to talk to someone on the phone.
Oh, goodness.
Oh, God.
Oh, God. Well, I think that's going to do it. I think that's going to do it for us this month. I hope.
Practice self-care, all those important things, please. I know this is me rambling again for another podcast, but I feel like that's what Tea and Twits is. Is one of the two of us rambles. That's it. The other one just kind of...
Yes. Or both of us do, and it's very interesting. But yes, I think that's going to end it for us for this month. I hope you guys enjoyed our brief history of the Women's History Month and our self-care talk. Take care of yourselves, guys. No matter how it looks like, please take care of yourselves, because we want you guys to stick around. And we hope that you enjoyed us rambling about how we take care of ourselves. So if you want to get in contact with us, hit us up on Twitter at MasterofPsych17 and at LadyLaura01. And we'll be back next month with a brand new podcast. But until then,
bye.
I hope you guys have a great day.